This conference will now be recorded.
In yesterday's session, we talked about the how to create a VPC. Then we talked about the AWS subnet creation. And once the subnet creation is done, okay, then we talked about uh, the difference between the private and the public subnet. What makes exactly the public subnet as public subnet and the private subnet as private subnet. So basically, we talked about the route table and within that internet route addition. Also, we added the public internet route, uh, the internet gateway. My bad. Okay, we also created the internet gateway in for the public subnet. So these are the things we have done so far, and we also created one EC2 machine in the public subnet, and we just try to log in it from outside. We successfully able to log in, right? So that's what till the time we have done so far. Okay, so here we have done what we have we have created the okay we have created the VPC, and within Mumbai region we have created that. Here we have these are the three subnets we have: 1A, 1B, and 1C. Subnet, web app subnet, that's what the name we have given. And we have created here EC2 server. And from outside, I shown you that how to log into this EC2 machine. So we successfully able to log in it. And the main reason is that we have here the route table. A route table is communicating with this subnet, and this route table is going to communicate with the internet gateway, and internet gateway will communicate with your laptop. Okay, so from your laptop you connect with the internet gateway, then RT, that's route table, and then further EC2. Okay, so this is the way with which your communication happens, and that's how you're able to connect to your EC2 machine. And that yesterday I proved that, right? So we able to successfully log into this machine. So now next thing is that, let's say if I consider to log in to the other subnet machine. Okay, so right now we don't have any server in 1B and 1C. So let's launch one more EC2 server here. Okay, so in 1B, let's assume that we have to put some any backend application, and we are creating the backend application. Okay, so for that I just have to launch one more EC2. So I will click on launch EC2, and here I'll give, let's say, web app private. Okay, so that's I'm just indicating that this instance belongs to the private subnet. Further, I have to choose operating system. Let's say Amazon Linux, let it be T2 Micro. Here key, I will choose it as Linux number 111, and the VPC setting. Okay, now that's something the very important one to change here, because we have to launch the things in this particular subnet. Okay, the 1B. So I'll click on edit. Instead of default, I'll choose web app, and then subnet here. Here I will be choosing the 1B. Okay, you guys can see that 1B is that I am choosing. Then auto assign public IP. So here I'll be selecting as enable. Okay, now first of all, try to understand that the instances which I'll be launching here. So those instances are going to be the private one. So from outside, you're not going to log into them. Okay, so from outside, you're not going to log into them. But still, here I'm just like keeping the public IP. Okay, like this, if I'm just choosing the public IP, so I have to pay some extra charges for the public IP. Okay, I have to pay some extra amount for using the public IP. So here I have the option that is auto assign public IP. If I kept it enable, okay, if I keep it enable, in that case, even though I just have it, okay, so that doesn't mean I'll be able to log into the machine. Okay, so this IP is like, here I'm asking to have IP is actually senseless. Okay, because see, public IP comes into the picture when you are trying to utilize it from outside. Now you are keeping the instances in the private subnet means what? They are going to be they're not going to be reachable from outside. Okay, But still, just to prove the point, I'm just like asking to have like here I'm just say enable so that I will have the public IP, but that IP is of no use actually. Okay, but still let's have it for demonstration purpose, and let's go ahead. Okay, so the next thing, everything looks great. I will say launch instance, and now we are launching the instance in the 1B subnet. Okay, so let's see. So here we have this private instance, and now what I just want to prove is that this particular instance is in private subnet, so does like we should not be able to log into this particular instance. So that's what I just want to prove it to you. So here I'll take the public IP, and in the downloads folder I do have that Linux OS key. Okay, so I will say sh-i or the previous command, and yeah, the username was also easy to user because the in second machine we have considered as MZ Linux, and that's my public IP. And I'll press enter, and you guys can see that yes, so from outside your instance is not reachable. So you have launched the EC2 server in the private subnet, and still it is not reachable via the public IP. So it's something the good thing you have done so far. Okay, like this is what you wish to achieve. Okay, that from outside nobody should be able to connect to your EC2 machine. That's what the we say, like that's what we have to achieve when I say that's a private subnet we are having it. Okay, now here uh, now here once we have this private subnet, okay, here we have the private subnet, and this private subnet, whatever you launch, that is going to be the unreachable. Okay, so that's a good thing. Now further here that we solved one problem. Okay, but at the same time, can you guys think of like we have created a new problem that so if we have to log into this EC2 machine, okay, if we have to log into this EC2 machine which is in the private subnet. So let's say I have created multiple EC2 machines. Okay, here I've created a multiple EC2 machines. Like here we have created one more EC2. Here we have created one more EC2. Okay, right now we just have one, but we are creating this EC2 machine for some purpose. Okay, we are creating this EC2 machine because of some purpose that we are going to create. Like we are going to launch some instances here, or like we are going to launch few of the applications here. So to satisfy the purpose, we have to log into the machine. Okay, so what I'm saying is that I just want to keep this machine private. Okay, private from the public. Okay, private from the public, that nobody should be able to even reach out to that machine. So that thing we have satisfied. But again, I have a team of people. Those people have to log into the system because without login, like what is the purpose they will be achieve. So here we have to log into this machine to do something. Okay, like let's say we have to install MySQL or we have to install something. Okay, anything we have to install. So first of all we should get the access of this machine, and then further we can do the things, right? So that's the reason we have to find out a way that how we can log into this machine. Okay, so can anyone help me here that how I can do that? Anyone here can
using the
help me?
private using the
Yes.
private type public instance, sorry, private instance, we can log in through.
Yeah, you mean the with the help of the public sub instance, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
from there, by using the private IP of the second instance in private subnet, we can log in.
correct. So this particular thing we call as a bastion host. Okay, let me explain to you what Deepak said just now. So here we have the access of this EC2 machine. Okay, we have the access of this EC2 machine. So what you guys can do is from your laptop, you can just log into this EC2 machine the normal way we do it. Okay, And from this machine you can just connect to any of the other machines. Okay, so that's a by default property you get, like, within the VPC, all the things are reachable. All the EC2s are reachable to each other, and because of that, here you can log in from this to this, okay, with the help of the private IP, of course, because within the VPC you can connect with the private IPs. Okay, so that's something you can do. So what we have to do is, here we have to log into this machine, and from this machine to this machine. Okay, now that's a very favorite interview question also, actually, that how you can log in to the private subnet instance. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, so you will be logging to the public subnet instance first, and from the public subnet instance you will be logging to the private subnet instance, and this concept is actually having some name called as bastion host. Okay, so the instance we just create for the login purpose. Okay, the instance which we create for the login purpose, so that instance we call as a bastion host. Okay, so this is the instance, we use it for login purpose of bastion host, just to remember the name. Or you can also call it as a jump server, so that's a second name. We use it in technical terms, so either it's bastion host or jump server. Jump server basically allow you to jump to the EC2 private instances. So these are the two names we have for this EC2 machine, the one which we create only for a login purpose. Okay, so let's do that. Now here I cannot log into the private instance, but yes, I can log into the public instance. Okay, and here I have logged into this public instance. Okay, so here I have the private instance. So my bad, here we have logged into the public instance. It's this is with this IP we have logged into this instance. Okay, now inside the instance further, I don't have any key or anything like that. So like, let's say if I have to log into the private instance, so I'll say what sh hyphen I, and then key something we require, right? So we don't have key right now. Also the username is going to be what? It is the ec2 hyphen user at the rate the private IP. Okay, so this is my instance. Okay, that's web app public, and it is having the private IP here. So this is my private instance, and for private instance, so this public IP is useless because we are not, like, we can't connect to this machine via the public internet. So we have to log in it via the private. Okay, so here I can take the private IP, and here I can put it. So this is the way with which we are going to log into your this private EC2 machine. Now here, like, we just understood this thing. Okay, probably you guys must have understood, but what about the key? Okay, we don't have a key, right? So if I press enter, you guys can see I'm getting the prompt that are you sure you want to continue connecting. So what does it mean? This implies that there is no connectivity issue. Okay, so I can connect to the private instance machine. If I press yes, you guys can see that I got the permission denied message. Basically, I am not using the correct key for login purpose, but yes, at least I able to connect to that machine. Okay, now of course here I need to have that particular key. Where I can get that key? So that key is with my laptop. Okay, I have the key in my laptop. So for the new instance, okay, that's a web app private. Okay, we are using the key is Linux demo 111. Okay, now I do have this key pair in my downloads folder, so I'll take it from there, and then I will provide this particular key to this particular instance. Okay, so let me go to downloads, and here we have that Linux demo 111. Yeah, that is the key. Okay, so I'll open this key, Control A, Control C. I have copied that key. Okay. Next thing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here and here I will say what? I'm gonna create this key, okay, with the nano editor. So let's give some any name, okay. So let's say private, or the best practice is that you should just give the same key name. So I'll say Linux demo 111.pem, okay. So that's a key name we are keeping. Just paste it, and I will save this key pair. Great. So this is a key pair we are done with copying, okay. Next thing is what? Now I can go and start using this command again. Okay, so I'll say sh-I, and here Linux demo triple. Okay, I have put the key name. So just press enter one more time. Okay, still I got one error. Okay, still I got one error, and again this error is expected. What the error is saying that the key which you have kept it, which is 0644. Okay, which having the permission as a 0644. What does it mean? That this particular key, okay, Linux demo 111, this particular key is having excessive permissions. Okay, it is having the excessive permission that it should not have actually, like the way we have the permission. Okay, the more permission. So right now the permission, just give a second, guys. My bad. Okay, guys. So yeah, let's just focus on again. So here, what I was talking about, that here we have done putting the key like this way, and I got an error. Okay, the error is simple, that what it's saying, that the key which I have it here. Okay, if I do ls-l, so the key what you see here is having the excessive permission. Okay, so here it's a read write, read. Okay, so we have here the 6. Okay, read plus write is 6, read is 4 and 4. Okay, so here write shouldn't be there, so that's what the creating the problem. When we have any key, okay, key is like your password. Okay, key is like your password, and your password should not have the right permission. So that's what the problem here the sh is saying. Okay, and that's what it is saying, that you should remove this w, which is useless. Okay, we shouldn't put it, and that's the reason it's causing the problem. So let's bring like reduce the permission. So chmod, with chmod the command, you can reduce that permission. So you can say 4, because you just want to give the read permission. Read is 4, write you don't want to give it, so just say instead of 6. Okay, earlier it is the read plus write is what, 6. Okay, so what you can do is just say read, then you have one more read. Okay, so again that read, you if you don't want to reduce, then you can say 400, means what, you just gonna say read, and you're giving the permission as 4. Okay, and then finally here, that's my key name. So this is the way that you are reducing your permission. Okay, you don't supposed to provide this right permission. Okay, so try to recall this we have learned in the prerequisite, right? So I'm reducing the permission here by this way, and just press enter. And now we are done with reducing the permission. We have just provided the read access. Let's confirm. You guys can see here we just have provided a read access, and now I should be able to log in to my machine. Okay, so this is my machine, and just press enter. Okay, so here we go. So now you guys can see that we have successfully logged into the your private EC2 machine. And how you can confirm? So just check out the IP. Okay, so it's a 10.10. That's my host name actually, but that's how the host name gets decided. So here, if I confirm the private IP, here this is what my private IP is, 2.36. You can confirm. So this is the instance inside which we have logged in successfully. So is this concept understood to you guys? Like this is what something we call as a bastion host. So is this understood to you all? Any questions? Any questions, guys, here at this point? Aditya, Jaya, Jyoti, Navdeep, Prakash, Prathamesh, Sushila. Did you understand the bastion host concept?
Yes, I think I'm pretty clear now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sounds great. So this is the way with which we can log in to your private EC2 machines or any of the, like, we are in the upcoming sessions. Let's say I created one more EC2 like this. Okay, so that's the way we follow for login purpose. Now here you will say, that something looks like a the big way to go and log into your EC2 machine. Earlier we were just able to log in it to directly, and now it is via your public subnet machine we have to log in. So that something looks like a big way, but yes, we have to follow that, the big way. Without that, you cannot log into your private subnet EC2. Okay, and that's what the best practice we consider. Okay, that's what the best practice we consider. So public machines, we just use one here, and again, one more security practice we have to consider here. In the security group, you will be just allowing your IP. Okay, so nobody apart from no one should be able to log in to your machine. So that we will learn ahead. Okay, the security group concept. But yes, so that's something here we will follow as a best practice. But like till the time we haven't solved with all the issues. Okay, here one more small issues we are left with, and then what is that? So you can see that I'm logged into this new machine, but here, as I already mentioned, that internet is something we haven't provided. You guys can see that the internet gateway is associated with this particular subnet, which is a public subnet. And for this subnet, we have created the RT, we have created a route table, but this RT is not associated with the internet gateway at all. So because of which we able to keep this all the subnets as private one, and that's what we want actually. But here the new problem that what I'm putting out in front of you guys is that this instances which we are creating in the private subnet, so don't they require the internet at all? Is that like that? Like, from outside, we want nobody should be able to reach out to this particular EC2 machine, and we have sorted that. Okay, we have sorted that by here we logged into this machine, like this EC2 machine, and then we logged into this. So doing the SH, okay, to the private subnet is something we have sorted out. Okay, but the next question that what I'm putting in front of you guys is that don't this internet, like, don't you think that this EC2 machine which we have it in the private subnet, they require the internet connection? So is that the thing that they will never require internet connection? So it's not like that, right? So let me prove it to you. So let's say I have to install something here. Okay, any of the software. Okay, let's say it's a like let's say gem install httpd. Okay, now this is software that I have to install. Okay, and as soon as I put the command, you can see that, okay, it's saying that I am not a root user, but let me say sudo. Okay, but still it is going, it won't be able to download. You can see here that their internet connectivity isn't there. So that's the reason when it will try to download the things from the repository, so there is no internet, and we will not be able to download, and so that's how will not be able to install that particular software. Okay, so it's not just about your login thing. Okay, of course we have to secure your EC2 instances from outside users because of security reasons. We did that successfully. But further, the new problem we have that we don't have internet connection at all to this machine, and they will require the internet connection. Now you will say, okay, one thing we can do is that you just download all the things in the public subnet. Okay, you just download all the things in the public subnet, and then from there you copy it here or something like that. Okay, no guys, this is not the way with which we do the things. Okay, when I say internet is required for like n number of things, and I cannot just do these things again and again, and that could be like a very tedious task to do. So what could be the solution here I can put? Okay, what is the solution here I can put down? Like most of the people get confused here, so please listen this carefully, guys. I am trying to tell you the solution how these private EC2 machines can access the internet. Okay, or like how you can confirm the internet connectivity. Is there any other way that you have with which you can confirm that do I have the internet connection or not? I can use something called as ping command. Okay, I can ping to something like a google.com or something like that. Okay, so if I'm just trying to ping to google.com, you can see that I'm not getting any response back. Okay, I'm not getting any response back. So if I say control C now, you guys can see that the 9 packets transmitted, 0 received. So it's 100% packet loss. Okay, there's no internet connection at all. Now how to resolve this issue? Let's discuss. Okay, so I hope the problem statement is understood to you guys, and now let's talk about the solution. So to tackle the solution, what AWS has created is AWS has one resource called as the NAT gateway. Okay, AWS has one solution called as the NAT gateway. Now NAT gateway is very similar like your EC2 machine. Okay, NAT gateway is a very similar resource that you have it like your EC2 machine, but NAT gateway is what? It is something managed by AWS completely. So you don't get anything, or you don't have to do anything with respect to NAT gateway. You just have to tell to AWS instance or AWS that you require a NAT gateway. AWS is going to create a NAT gateway for you. But this NAT gateway is not going to, it is not going to, even this NAT gateway, you won't be able to log in, or you won't be able to do the modification anything here. You just have to tell to AWS that create a NAT gateway for me. Now, one more thing here you need to understand that NAT gateway is what? It's a passive device, again, like your internet gateway. But NAT gateway is dependent on internet, like the one which we have here. Okay, the internet gateway here. So NAT gateway is not going to bring the internet from anywhere. It is actually going to bring the internet from the internet gateway. So NAT gateway is supposed to create. You're supposed to create NAT gateway in the public subnet. So do remember this thing. Okay, so do remember this thing that you have to create a NAT gateway in the public subnet. And once you have created a NAT gateway in the public subnet, so one more thing you have to do. Okay, so creating NAT gateway is one thing. Second thing, what you have to do is that here we are creating the route table, right? So our EC2 machine should forward the internet traffic to the NAT gateway. That's what the next goal we have to do. Okay, so when I say ping google.com, or when I'm trying to download any of the package, so in both of the case, it's supposed to ask the things to the NAT gateway. And how we can do? So we need to tell to this route table that whenever EC2 machine is trying to access any internet, okay, that is the 000/0, in that case, just forward the traffic to the NAT gateway. Okay, just forward the traffic to the NAT gateway. So this is what something the people get confused. In a previous case, what I was talking about here, in the previous case, like when I talk about the public subnet, so just do remember we have added a very similar route 000/0, but in that case we were forwarding traffic towards the internet gateway. Okay, so we are providing the internet gateway access directly to your EC2 machines. So that's what we do it in the public subnet. When it comes to the private subnet, instead of providing access to the internet gateway, here we are going to provide access to the NAT gateway. So that's a major difference you have here. Now, like how the NAT gateway is a savior here. So, whenever, or let me create the things first. Okay, let me practically show you how the things here, he helping you, and then further we will learn like how the EC2 get the access. So we'll learn that after that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So what we will do here is that the very first thing, I will go on AWS platform, and here we will create a NAT gateway. Okay, now what is that? What is that place where we can create a NAT gateway? So for that purpose, I have to open the VPC. Okay, so on VPC page here you can just check. We have the on this particular page you should get NAT gateway is one resource. Okay, so this is the place where we have the NAT gateway. Just click on that. So here we have a NAT gateway. Okay, now here you need to create a NAT gateway. Now do remember the thing, guys, that NAT gateway is what? NAT gateway is it's a chargeable resource. So NAT gateway is not a free resource. So do remember that if you have to practice it along with me, do it. But once your practice is done, simply remove your NAT gateway resource, because NAT gateway is a chargeable resource. It's like your EC2 machine. Okay, so that's the reason it is going to charge you. So let me say create NAT gateway. Provide some name as per your choice. Okay, let's say web app NAT gateway. Okay, that's the name I'm keeping here. And within the subnet here, I need to choose in which subnet I wish to create NAT gateway. So guys, do remember this thing. Okay, people makes the mistake here. They feel that NAT gateway they will create in the private subnet. No, if they are creating the NAT gateway in the private subnet, how NAT gateway will get the internet? So NAT gateway has to get created in the public subnet. You guys can see here, I have created in the public subnet. So let's follow that procedure again. So I'm gonna choose a subnet here, which is going to be the web app subnet 1A. That's my public subnet is. Okay, and further I require one more thing here, is that elastic IP. Okay, now elastic IP is what? It's a static IP that we required. So with the help of static IP, I have to create a NAT gateway. So if I check, I do have any elastic IP? No. So I'm gonna say allocate elastic IP, and I have received one elastic IP. Okay, so one static IP we required for this NAT gateway creation. Do remember that along with your NAT gateway, you have also created the elastic IP, and you have to pay separately for elastic IP. Okay, NAT gateway charges are separate, and elastic IP charges are separate. So both of these things here we have created, and now it's time to create a NAT gateway. So one thing here we have done, that is the creation of the NAT gateway, something done. And you can see its state is in pending state, so it will take like 1 to 2 minutes for creation purpose. Till that time, what we can do is, the second thing what we have to do is, we have to add this internet route. We have to add this particular internet route to the route table of the private subnet. Okay, so I will go and click on the route tables. Okay, now inside route tables, you can see that we have this web app public RT, sorry, private RT. Now if I check the routes, I just have this particular route, which is my VPC route. Here I'm gonna say edit routes, and inside that, here I will click on what? I will click on the internet. Okay, so that's my internet route. And further here I will click on what? I will click on the NAT gateway. So NAT gateway is what? This is the NAT gateway we have. Great. So that's my public internet route, and I'm going to forward the traffic towards the NAT gateway. So that's what here I'm saying. Okay, that's my internet route, and this is what my NAT gateway is. So here I will click on say, okay, so what I'm basically saying here, whenever I have to go to the internet, so just forward traffic to the internet gateway, sorry, the NAT gateway, and just say save changes. And here we are done adding this particular NAT gateway route, and let's confirm that is the NAT gateway is ready. So yes, it is available. And now I'll go back on my machine here. Okay, and here at this point, here I'll try to ping to google.com. Okay, and you guys can see just now, okay, here I was not getting a response. Okay, and here you can see that I have started getting a response. I will say Control C, and you can just see that we're getting the response. Okay, 10 packets transmitted, 10 received. Okay, and 0% packet loss. Okay, earlier we had the 100% packet loss, and now we have the 0% packet loss. So that's how we have solved the problem of internet. So your private machine is able to access the internet, and in this current situation they're still not going directly or exposed to the internet. So here how the things are happening, so let me tell you the way. Okay, so on your EC2 machine you put something like ping google.com or anything like that. EC2 machine will reach out to the route table. Okay, now within the route table you have said that wherever you have to go and to any of the other route, okay, apart from your VPC, so in that case go and connect to your NAT gateway, because we are forwarding traffic to our NAT gateway. Then this route table is going to forward the traffic to the NAT gateway. Now NAT gateway have the interconnect availability, so it will go and via the way, usual way, it will go and communicate with the internet gateway. And then further internet gateway will go outside, that's a passive device completely. It will go and bring the internet, and that whatever the data you have asked, okay, so it will go on internet and it will bring, and it will hand over that thing again to the NAT gateway. NAT gateway again will connect back to your EC2 machine and will provide whatever you have asked for. So data is going transfer via the NAT gateway. Okay, so in middle we have a NAT gateway. So NAT gateway is what? It's a managed AWS resource. So the security and everything will be taken care by AWS itself. So that's what the AWS is promising to us, that you just relax, we will take care of everything. Okay, so you are not getting involved in downloading the things directly. It's a one instance, first of all, doing it for you, and then further you get that thing, right? So that's how you can just provide the internet access to your EC2 machine. Okay, this is the EC2 machine here I'm referring to. So yes, everything looks great, and that's how we have provided the internet connection. So from outside you cannot log into this machine. Okay, you cannot log into this machine. So one thing we have satisfied, and that's what we call as a private subnet. Second thing, those machines might want to access the internet. Okay, so yes, we have provided internet access also via the NAT gateway. So this is what we do, this is what the practice we follow in real-time scenarios, that this is the way we provide the internet connection to your EC2 machine. So is this understood to you all? Any questions, guys, here at this point?
Amul,
Yes.
can you once show that EC2 to NAT briefly here in the you have dotted wise you have shown, no? Can you again show that same?
Okay, so what I was explaining you, that from this EC2 machine, when you're telling, like when you're accessing the internet, so what the flow it is going to happen, basically this EC2 machine, let's say I said ping google.com. Of course google.com is something outside thing. So this EC2 will ask to, as usual, to its route table, that I have to connect to the google.com. Within this route table we have added this route, which is the, whenever you're asking for internet, so just forward the traffic to the NAT gateway. So this route table is going to forward the traffic to the NAT gateway, which we have created in the public subnet. Now NAT gateway have the internet access, because within this particular public subnet we have, like, this NAT gateway is again going to ask to NAT, like, internet to this route table. Route table will forward traffic to the internet gateway. Internet gateway is just a passive device. This will go on internet, and this will bring the internet connection, like whatever you have asked for. So that internet gateway will again forward back to your NAT gateway. NAT gateway will again give the data back to your EC2 machine. So that's the workflow, okay? But here you need to understand what the important thing, that after adding the NAT gateway, we successfully able to access the internet connection. So overall, it is whenever a private subnet wants to access internet, okay, whenever a private subnet instances wants to access internet, so in that case we have to create something called as NAT gateway. Okay.
Okay, Amar.
Yeah. Any other question, guys? Here, did you get what exactly here I'm trying to say? How to provide the internet connection to your EC2 machine? Is that something I wanted to tell you? So is that understood to you guys? Any questions here so far? No questions? Okay, fine. So these are all the best practices we have to consider. Okay, now the only thing in the real-time scenarios is what your number of subnets will vary, your number of public subnets will vary. Okay, but the concept remains the same. So whichever the route table having the direct internet access, that internet gateway is attached, so those subnets are going to be the public one. The subnets which are not having that public internet route, like public internet gateway access, so those are going to be a private. Okay, so overall these are all things you need to understand, keep in your mind. Now one more last thing that what we will do is, like here I just told you that NAT gateway is what, it's
Amar,
a chargeable resource. Yes.
small thing. If in a VPC we have only created private subnets and we did not create public subnet means, so that private subnets will not have internet access anyhow because there is no public subnet to be
ex-
created, and yeah,
exactly.
at
So
least we must have one public subnet
subnet
so
has to
that
be
we
there.
can create.
Yes, one, at least one subnet, public subnet has to be there for login purpose or for NAT gateway creation. At least one has to be there. Correct.
Yes, okay, Amar.
Yeah. And also like generally, depending on how much workload you have, we just keep creating the different subnets. And I have seen the projects where we have something like the within one VPC we have 20 subnets. Okay, so as we keep adding the projects, or like we have the things inside your VPC, so we might have like too many private subnets. uh, so private subnet is just like we keep creating it, and public subnet could be the one, because we just have to provide the interconnection. So it could be one, it could be two. Okay, so that's what here we have done the demonstration. Now let me do one small thing. As I already mentioned that about the NAT gateway. NAT gateway is a chargeable resource. Okay, so NAT gateway is something we have to like here, as our practice is done, I'm going to straight away delete it. The reason, because this is a chargeable one. So let me show you how you can delete it, because that is also you should know, right? So on this particular page, NAT gateway, okay, you can see that this is the one we have created. So just assume that we are done with our work, and now it's time to done the delete the thing. So you can click here on the delete NAT gateway. So just click on delete. So say delete. Okay, now NAT gateway deletion would take somewhere around the 5 minutes. Okay, so you have to keep patience. Okay, now here, from here the entry might go away like in 2 minutes, but still behind the scenes some of the things are going on, so you have to wait for this complete delete. And one more thing, that the important thing what I want to tell you is that just do remember that along with the NAT gateway creation, you guys also have the ask for the elastic IP, that's a static IP. So that static IP also we have to release, because that will charge us separately. Okay, so here if I go and check the elastic IP, so this is the elastic IP, this is the public IP we have. So we need to release this particular elastic IP. Now this elastic IP is associated with the NAT gateway. Okay, so NAT gateway deletion should be done first, and then only you can delete this elastic API. Okay, so here if I go and check, we have the option that is the release elastic API. Okay, if I click, you can see I'm getting the warning saying that this particular IP cannot be released because it is associated with this NAT gateway. Okay, this is associated with the NAT gateway. So you have to wait for that NAT gateway to be deleted completely, and after that you can release this one. Okay, so just do remember that to release it. Now for me, I have to wait for some 5 minutes. Okay, so I'll come here later. Okay, but you guys just keep that thing in mind that you also have to delete the your elastic IP. Fine. So that's the one thing. Now let's move to the next topic. That's next service we are going to move, which is the EBS. Okay, Elastic Block Storage. So just give me a second, and after that we will start with the other service, that is the AWS other service, that's the EBS. So just give me a minute. All right, guys. So here the next thing what we have to discuss is the EBS volume. And what is EBS volume is, okay, let's just talk about that. Now if you want to understand the theory about it, okay, you can just go and check my that GitHub, and there you should find one document. Okay, so if I show you the under the docs, you have this is the AWS EBS, so you can just go through it about the theory part. So you can see here, this is what elastic block storage we have the document created. Now what is this EBS volume is? Okay, so let's talk about it. So first of all, if I just like scroll little down, you can see that it's an elastic block storage, and it's having something. So there are different storage types we have, and so we say this is a block based storage. Okay, so what is meant by block based storage? Basically, the whatever the data we are storing, so it is getting stored inside the technology that what we are using is like block by block. Okay, the data gets stored in the block by block. So that's what the block based storage we have, and the other type of storage we have, that is the object based storage. Okay, so now we don't have to go and understand that technically, but here it's just like a block based storage that we said, and that's the reason it's an elastic block storage we have. And EBS volume is something that you guys like, we guys in fact use it in on a daily basis. Okay, so you see that we have something, we used to uh, have some desktop, okay, in older days, and then within that CPU we have something hard disk. Okay, right now also in your laptop also you have the hard disk. Probably that's not visible, you need to open the laptop so that you can see it, but yes, we do have that hard disk, and that's nothing but it's a elastic block. Sorry, okay, that's the EBS volume you have it. Okay, so EBS volume is nothing but that hard disk that what you are attaching to your laptop. So that's what the EBS volume is, okay, in real scenarios. So and what is the use of that? Okay, so basically here we put the EC2 operating system on top of it. Okay, so operating system, it is like a huge software that we require. We need to run it on any of the storage, and so it's like a you have, okay, it's like you have EC2 server. It's like you have a EC2 server, and that EC2 server you have this EBS volume attached to it. Okay, so that's the EBS volume you have it, and that's my EC2 server. So this EBS volume consists of all your operating system files and everything, because that you required for your storages, and yeah, you can store a lot of things here. Okay, you can store your database, you can store a number of files there. Okay, so that's what the EBS volume is. So EBS volume, and then we are using this EBS volume like since day one, that we are attaching that EBS volume to your EC2 machine, because without that your EC2 cannot run. Okay, so to run your EC2 machine you need to have EBS volume, and you just decide at how much storage you would like to have. Okay, you choose usually like 8 GB or somewhere around that. Okay, in real time scenarios, of course, you'll choose something the bigger number, like something the 100 GB, 200 GB, something like that. Okay, so that's what the EBS volume we have, and the most important part, like here we have, that is the elastic, that is elastic in nature. Okay, what does it mean? That we can just increase or decrease the size of that EBS volume at any time as per your requirement. We cannot decrease. Okay, we cannot decrease, but yes, we cannot increase it. So let's say right now I just consider 100 GB EBS volume for my EC2, and over a period of time I realize that the 100 GB is not sufficient. Okay, I need to increase it. So yes, you can go and increase your EBS volume. So that's something you can have it. Then you can place that in a specific AZ. Okay, so EBS volume is something that is within one AZ. So let's say you have created EC2 machine in the 1A AZ. So EBS volume is also going to be created there itself. Okay, so along with your EC2 machine, the EBS volume is also gets created within the same AZ, that's availability zone. Then here automatically replicated within the AZ to protect from the failure. Now that's something the AWS does for its own reputation purpose, or you can say like that. So behind the scene, the AWS is going to replicate that particular EBS volume, and that is not going to show you, that's something I'm doing it. So if by any chance that if one AZ goes down, by any chance that if there is something, big problem happen and one AZ goes down, so all the people, like whoever have their data, okay, with the EBS, so that will also go off. Okay, so that's the reason what AWS does is that AWS automatically replicate that within the other AZ, so that by any chance that if there's something problem happen, so it is having the backup in the other AZ, and from the other AZ it is going to restore your machine. So that's what here the AWS does. Okay, but it's for their own purpose. So you can ask me the question. So let's say by any chance that let's suppose you delete the EBS volume by yourself. So will it get recover by asking the things to the AWS? The answer is no. Okay, because AWS has its own way to handle the things. Okay, like they have something complex algorithm within that. They are going to copy the data of multiple EBS, and for retrieval also they have their own ways to handle the things. So this scenario, in this scenario, the AWS is not going to help you. So if you have the if you have the EBS volume, so you need to take the backup of that EBS by yourself. Okay, and then that thing we call it actually snapshot. Okay, so taking a backup is going to be your responsibility and not AWS. Okay, so AWS will not help you here. You have to take the snapshot. Okay, time to time you have to take the snapshot. Snapshot is nothing but it's a backup of your volume. Okay, so this is about your EBS. Okay, basic introduction. And now let's talk about the types we have in the case of the EBS. So we have the total, these are the types we have. Now depending on your workload, you are going to use the type. And yes, most of the times we use the general purpose. Okay, so that's what you guys are familiar with. So GP2, GP3, this type of workload, like this type of EBS volume we have it. So or in fact, let me show you this practically. So if I go and launch any of the EC2 machine, so while launching we get this option. Okay, so at last you configure the storage, right? You configure the storage. This is nothing but here you're configuring your EBS volume. So how much storage you want? Okay, you might choose, let's say 10 GB, 15 GB, like that. Okay, what your number is, so you choose here. Then here you are selecting GP2, GP3. Okay, so these are the options you have. GP2, GP3 are what? These are the general purpose types we have. Now most of your, the general type of workload gets supported by the general purpose. So that's a standard, pretty standard EBS volume that we use it all the time. Then next we have, that is a provision IOPS. Okay, next one we have, that is a provision IOPS. So provision IOPS is type of the EBS volume is that in which you can tell that how many input output you want. Okay, now what is the purpose of the provision IOPS is? So provision IOPS is type of volume in which you can decide that how much input and output rate has to be. So what is input output rate means? Basically, it's like a EBS volume. Like we okay, now there's something with respect to storage, but just try to understand in this way. Let's say this is the EBS volume we have. So what are the operations here we have to do? We have to write the things here. Okay, whenever something the new data is coming, so we have to write the things here. And if somebody is accessing the data, we have to read the data, right? So read and write operation that always goes on this particular EBS volume. So bigger your input output rate is, the better your operations will work. So that's what the input output rate we have. So if your workload is something that in which you have to do a lot of input output operations, like read and write operation is something you have to do a lot. In such case, we go and create the provision IOPS. This is the one we choose the EBS volume. So these are the mainly two use cases we have in most of the cases. The other we have few of the others one, okay, but those are depending on your use case, specific use case, you go and use it. Like throughput optimize is something, when we have something like a big data, okay, in such case we go it. Okay, let me tell you, general purpose is a standard for most of the application. This is the one you use it, and we have a standard fees there. Provision IOPS is what, it's the costliest option. Okay, like among all of this, provision IOPS is going to be the costlier because it is going to provision a good performance. So if you just want to have a good performance, then you have to pay a premium charges. Then you have a throughput optimized HD, and these two are what? These two are the SSD. Okay, these two are the SSD. Now I hope you guys are aware about difference between SSD and HDD. Okay, in fact we have in laptop also. Nowadays the people, when they go and buy the laptop, so they are most in like all the cases, almost you have the SSD everywhere. If you are purchasing laptop which is with a less price, okay, cheap price, so probably they will provide you the HDD. Okay, but SSD is something that in most of the cases we have it nowadays. Okay, if you go back like 5 years back and try to purchase laptop, okay, there we used to have a HDD. Okay, so general purpose and provision IOPS both are works on the SSD, and here you have what? Here you have the HDD. Okay, that's a hard disk, the old technology little one. But that is okay with the big data and the data warehouses where you have to store a lot of data. Okay, where you just have to store your lot of data. So throughput optimize means what? That output doesn't matter, that the input output rate doesn't matter, you just required to store a lot of data. So in that case you can go for it. Okay, of course this is going to be the cheaper than the SSD solutions. Cold SSD, here again, which is very very similar like your throughput, where again your throughput is going to be very less, and here you can keep the files. Okay, just say you just wish to store some files and all, so in such case you can use the cold HDD. And last one is when you have to store anything like a magnetic backups and archives. So in such case you can go and buy this one. Magnetic is even older than your HDD. Okay, but still we can use that one for your backups and archives purpose. So this particular storage is again going to be the cheapest one. Okay, so because we don't backup or something archive what we store. Okay, so we don't use that again and again. Okay, we just dump that one and we just forget. So that is all these solutions we have. So depending on your use case, you go and choose what EBS volume you wish to go with. Okay, so mostly we just go for both of the solution, the first two. Okay, until you have specific requirement, you don't look out to these options. Okay, fine. Let's go and see. So here, this is the way you do the things. Okay, SSD based general purpose provision throughput optimized cold. You choose a EBS volume and you attach to that your EC2 machine and you run your applications. Okay, so this diagram I have taken basically from the AWS document itself, and fine, that's it. Okay, now here we need to understand one more thing, that as I mentioned, that we are having the EBS volume here. Now that EBS volume, we are attaching it to the EC2 machine. Okay, at the launch time itself, you guys can see here how much you would like to have. That's something you decide at the launch time itself. And that is specific AZ resource. Okay, so here, in fact, if I tell you the example, let's say web app public. Okay, if I go and check the storage, I can click on storage, and here you can see the volume list is mounted here. Okay, if I open this one in the right tab, okay, so you can see under the volume section, I can see that one. Or if I have to go to the volume directly, so on the left hand side page, you can see the volume. Okay, under the elastic block store. Okay, here I have that volume section. You can also reach out. So if I remove this one, okay, I should get all my volumes. Okay, all my volumes here you should be able to see. So yep, here we have this many volumes you have. The 4 volumes we have, and to which EC2 it is attached. Okay, that also I can see here. You can see here web app private, web app public. Okay, so this is the one I was talking about. So this particular volume is created, type is GP3, and 8 GB is what it's a volume size we have. And I was talking about the input output rate, right? So it's a 3000 that we get. So that's what we get for a general purpose. Now if you want to have more, then you can go with the IO, input output provision EBS. Okay, you can go with that, and you can have more than 3000 also. Okay, fine. Then further you can see that the status check, everything is good. Okay, monitoring, you can check the few of the parameters for this one, that how much is rate throughput, write throughput, rate operation. Okay, this is small parameter, you can check it here. And this volume is what is it like, we can take the backup, right? So I talked about something, taking the backup of your volume. So you can always take the backup. And how you can do that, we call that thing as a snapshot. Okay, so in fact I can see one snapshot is there. Okay, so how you can take the snapshot by yourself? So you can just click on the actions, and here you get the option that is create snapshot. And once you create a snapshot, so you should be able to get the snapshot here. So under the snapshot, okay, now okay, let me tell you again. So the snapshot what you see here, that's not something is useful for you. Okay, I told you, right? So AWS also takes the backup for its own purpose, so that this is what the snapshot is. Now this snapshot is not taken by us, we have to take our own snapshot. So whenever there is something the manager told you to do, have the backup of the volume, so you have to come here, you have to click here on action, so create snapshot, and you can provide a description. Okay, description as such that you are creating the snapshot on the 6th June, any of the particular software you have installed. Okay, so that you can tell that extra description that this is something, the new software you have installed. So if somebody wants to refer the snapshot, so they can just check the things by looking at the description. Okay, and also don't forget to mention the date, so that that's always useful. That's what I believe. Okay, then when this EBS volume created, so it's not encrypted. That says that this option, by default option you have it, that's not encrypted, but let it be. Okay, so let's go and further say create snapshot. So then further you can see that snapshot creation is in progress. Okay, so this is the one, and if I wish to go and check, so you can click on snapshot, and here you can see the snapshot creation is in progress. So taking the backup is something going on. So it will take some time. Okay, it will take some time. Somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes it will take. So overall, that much time is required for the bigger your volume is, the more time it is going to take. But anyways, okay, so the snapshot is just like that's how you can take the backup, and you can restore that backup at any time again. Okay, so if you wish to restore that one, you can restore that one. So for this EC2, we have taken the I just choose something else. Okay, but that's fine, right? So I hope the concept is something understood to you. I just choose another instance which is in stop state actually. Okay, but anyways, this is with the 15 GB, and if I check the snapshot, so you can see that this is 15 GB snapshot is under the creation, and it will take somewhere around like 5 to 10 minutes. So to have complete backup of your snapshot, okay, like this is what you do. Now further, let's say you have taken the snapshot, and then later we added something new to your EC2 machine, and you haven't taken the snapshot of that, okay, and that instance by mistakenly gone or something happened with that instance. So in such case, you can retrieve your things from this particular snapshot, but after, like, once you have taken the snapshot, after that whatever things have happened with your EC2, so those things are not recorded here. Okay, so please understand that here whatever the things you have taken under the snapshot, only those things you can retrieve. Rest of things you cannot. And apart from that, one more thing here you need to understand is that you will get you will get priced. Okay, like you have to pay the cost of full uh, that volume, that whatever you are using it. So let's say here I'm using the, let's say, the 30 GB is something the volume at initial I have created, and I'm just utilizing the 5 GB of it. Okay, so but still you have to pay for the full price. It's like that, you purchase a laptop, so at the initial you have, let's say, the 500 GB of the SSD, you have it, so you're gonna pay full price, right? So it's the same case here we have. So you decide that, let's say, you wish to have 100 GB. So it might happen that for entire year you just utilize the 10 GB of it, but still you have to pay the full price, that is 100 GB. Okay. The other thing you get the option here, that's EBS is what it is, the elastic in nature. Elastic in nature means what? That you can increase the storage after time also. So that's the other option you can follow. Let's say your goal is to attach the 2000 GB to your EC2 machine. But if you attach 2000 GB, so from the day one, AWS will start taking money for the 2000 GB. But at the initial days, you know that probably you're not going to utilize the full storage. Probably your data will remain under the 500 GB. So maybe you can provision the 500 GB at initial, and as time progress, you can just keep adding your storage. Okay, so that's something you can always do. So that's what the elastic in nature I'm calling here. Okay, but of course you have to do few of your things there to increase your volume. But yes, this is what I want to make you understand. So let's do this practically. Okay, let's do this practically. So what I'm going to do now here is that I have one instance here, and I'm going to tell you, how exactly you can do it by yourself. Okay, but let me tell you, ask you a first question, like, are you with me, guys? How what here I'm talking about is that, are you with me?
Yes, Amal.
Okay, right. So here I'm just explaining the EBS volume. It's very similar like your hard disk. Okay, or it is in fact the hard disk. Okay, it's nothing but it's a hard disk, and that you have operating system and everything. And now what I'm telling you, that we have to increase that. Now of course if you have to do the same thing in your laptop, so that's not something possible. Okay, like you have something. Now in my case I have the, let's say, 1 terabyte of SSD. So I cannot increase that. Why? Because that's something, as a that is something the hardware I have it, right? If I have to increase that in real scenario, then I have to go to the laptop, shop, or there I need to purchase, let's say, 2 TB, and then I'll be replacing that. Okay, I have to remove the first one, and then I'll be replacing it, right? So that's what the activity we have to do. Same thing here, we don't have to do. Okay, like that's what the elastic nature we say. Okay, EBS is what? Elastic block store, right? So it's a elastic in nature. So we can increase it, right? So let's understand how to increase. Okay, let's understand how to increase that. So if I take example, let's say we have this EC2 server, which is having the storage right now, which is the 8 GB. Okay, and let's say you wish to have, instead of 8 GB, you wish to go with the 15 GB. Okay, you want that has to be 15 GB. So let's understand how to do it now. Whichever the storage you want to increase, the operations are going to remain same. Okay, instead of 8, you wish to go with 100 GB, still operations is going to be same. Okay, so let's understand how to do it. Okay, so here the next thing what we will do is, probably I can just open this particular volume in a new tab, and then further here I'll click on that particular, the storage, and then further I can go to actions, and I get the option here to modify volume. Okay, just click on the modify volume. Okay, let me do one more small thing, is that I just want to show you something here. Okay, so I'm logged in already in my machine. Okay, like for the machine which I have to increase the volume. Okay, I'm inside that machine, and if I show you how much storage I have right now, I can check that one with the df-h command, and you can see that out of 8 GB. Okay, so that's something I get it from the AWS. So out of 8 GB, I'm utilizing the 1.6 GB, and 6.4 GB still I have left with. So almost 20% of the disk I'm utilizing, and the 80% is something is free. Okay, so this is what the storage we have. This is what the current storage status we have. Now instead of 8 GB, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's have it 15 GB is something that I would like to put it. Okay, so let's understand how to do it. Here I will go and I just click on the modify volume. Here I can always modify the volume. In fact, I can check the volume type also. Let's say I'm just using the GP3, and I wish to increase the performance, so I can go with the provision IFs also. So in on the fly we can do all of these changes. Again, we have to pay the extra pricing for that, of course. So I1 if I choosing, so I have to pay the extra pricing for that. But yes, we can make changes like that. Now we have the 8 GB, so instead of that I'm saying that 15 GB. Now please make sure that please make one more point here, is that you cannot decrease your volume. So right now you have the 8 GB, so you cannot go and say 7 GB. No, you cannot go and do that. Okay, you can just increase the volume. Okay, so let's say at initial you have the 1000 GB, and later you realize that you don't require that much storage. You have to go to the 500 GB. No, you cannot do it. Okay, so make sure that try to understand your requirement. According to that, create your volume. You can always increase, right? So there is a possibility. So let's understand how to do it. Now here I have set the 15 GB, and I have some getting the by default. I'm happy with that, and just say modify. So here it's like giving me, behind the scene it is going to modify that one. Okay, so let it be. So we have requested the volume modification, and if I go and check, okay, so this is the volume here we are talking about. So this volume modification will take some time. Okay, behind the scene it will take some time, and after that we will have here, like, here you should be able to see the availability. Yes, here you can see the percentage also. Okay, so 10% of that is been added, like that. Optimizing is something going on, so that should become 100, and after that you can go and further do the operation. Behind the scene that will go on, but let me explain you further what the next step will do. Now doing the modification of your volume is not something the the daily activity you do. Okay, like what I'm saying is that increasing your existing volume is something, not the you do it as a daily activity. Okay, you have to do it like once in a month or something like that. Okay, so because you have to just increase once. Okay, so and depending on what operating system you are using, so the documentation is going to vary accordingly. Okay, so it's not something the one formula we have it with which you can just increase the volume. So it's not like in like simple thing. So here you have did it physically. Okay, so whatever the modification you have done right now is what you have done it physically. But still, if you go and check the things here like df-h, you won't see any difference here as such. Okay, because you whatever you have done that one, so that is not considered by your operating system, even though after this 100% become. Okay, still you are going to see only a 8 GB because you have to make the provision further. Okay, so on a software level you have to make the few of the things here. Okay, so still we have the 8 GB. So how to get this as a 15 GB? Okay, so there we have something like a commands lsblk. Okay, now that should tell you actually about that how much total space you have it. Okay, so right now you can see that when I see that xpda, that's my existing volume, is I have created with the 15 GB, but my partition is with the 8 GB. Okay, my partition is with what? It is with the 8 GB. Now this is the particular command with which I can check. Now you will say I don't know about this command. Okay, like from where I'll get to know this about this command? So relax guys. Okay, that's the reason I tell you that depending on what particular operating system you are using. Okay, so as for that, the procedures are going to vary and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that's not something every day you have to do the operation. So what is the way you have to follow? You have to follow the documentation. Okay, and then documentation is what? It is well written. Okay, documentation is what? It is well written. You should be able to get all the things. Okay, let me explain to you. You can just go and open any one of the browser and search for, like, let's say increase, right? So just put it in your language that increase EBS volume size. Okay, so you just search it, and here you get like n number of documents for that. But let's go and choose any other. It's like you can check this one also, but let me just go with the AWS documentation. And if I open that document, okay, here it's like telling you to take a snapshot. Okay, now snapshot is for what? Basically, by any chance that let's say something goes wrong and any of the operation go here and there, and because of which your disk got corrupted. So better just have a backup, basically a snapshot. Once you're done with that, then based on your instance, okay, either you have a Linux server or Windows server, you can go and choose your EC2. So we're talking over here about the Windows EC2 server or Windows Linux server. In our case, it's a Linux server, so just click on that. Then further, you can just check this instance type, and you can do blah 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 things. Okay, fine. Next thing, the thing that what I want to explain is something like this one. Okay, so AWS has a two type of EBS volume. Okay, AWS has two type of EBS volume. One is that they called as a Nitro instance example, and one is called as a Zen. Okay, now what is different between two? Okay, see, try to understand, guys. AWS has created the hardware, or it has placed the hardware all over the world. Okay, now who manufacture these volumes and everything? So AWS has its own vendors, right? Like they have the vendors. So let's say it's one of the company from China is building one thing, so that they have building this thing. Okay, and one company is from Vietnam. So again, AWS don't want to rely on one vendor. Okay, so that's the reason AWS is seeking for two vendors. Okay, one is from Vietnam, one is from China, and that's how they have built their storage volumes. Okay, and that's the reason I'm just like giving you a hypothetical example. Okay, try to understand with that way. That's the reason we have a vendor difference there. Okay, and that's how we have the two type of instance. One is the Nitro instance of example, and other is the Zen. Both are the EBS volume only, but the hardware they are using, okay, these are going to be a different one. So Zen is actually, type of vendor which AWS is using for most of its machine. But again, we have the Nitro instance, and depending on which region you are using, so this thing will vary. Now, how you will understand in your case which one you are using, either Nitro or Zen, okay, which one you are using it. So that's reason in that case you can use this command called as sudo lsblk, or I use this lsblk command, that is list block, okay, list blocks. So you can see that here what is written, either it is coming as the, either it comes with the X letter or the N letter. Okay, so Nitro will come as with the N letter, and Zen will come with the X letter. So that's how you will understand that what type of volume you have. Okay, which type of volume you have. So in your case, like this, for this example, we have a Zen as an example. Okay, now in other case, let's say you created the same machine in some other region, like let's say North Virginia or something like that. Okay, so for same machine it can happen that you're using the Nitro instance. Okay, so it's not something your choice. Okay, you just create, you tell AWS to create the EC2. Now it might happen that they are using the Nitro instance, or they might be choosing the XPDA. Okay, fine. So I hope this is understood to you, that it's not in your hand. You just need to check which one you are using. So in our case, we are using the Zen instance. Okay, so this is the one we are using it. Okay, great. So that's the first command you utilize here. Okay, and that is telling me that total size is 15 GB. Okay, but out of that I'm just using the 8 GB, and that is mounted at the slash. That's a start directory of your Linux machine. So great. Okay, so that's something I can confirm, that I have the 15 GB availability, but I'm just utilizing the 8 GB out of that. I have to just follow documentation. Okay, now wherever Zen is written, just follow that. Okay, let's go ahead. Then further here I'll click on Zen example again. Now what I have to do is, here I have to grow part. Okay, like here I have to grow this particular partition. So that's my command is, okay, grow part. I have to just say grow part partition, that one. It's a slash dev xpda. Okay, you can check that this is the xpda volume. So I have to say slash dev xpda, and that's my first partition. Okay, it's my first partition, that's my first. So I'm gonna say one number here. Okay, so that's my second command I have to put. So I will copy that particular command. Okay, I'll copy it from here, and then I'll paste it here. Okay, and just press enter again. So there's something, the partition is changed. Okay, and now if I go and show you the lsblk, okay, you can see that earlier it was a 8 GB. Okay, now it is a 15 GB. So I'm not doing anything, something uh, like rocket science. It's just I'm following the documentation. Okay, so you also have to follow the documentation, guys. Okay, just click on Zen example, and here I got this command which is telling me like how to grow partition. So this is the command I have to follow, and I follow the command, and then I just have increased this one partition. Okay, let me check the df-h command. Okay, you can see that df-h is still not showing me that, that utilization I have to consider like 15 GB. So here I have just increased my partition, like block storage I have to increase to this one. Like earlier it was 15, so I have make sure that my block storage is also with the 50 GB, but still the storage is not reflected here. Okay, I have to do something else also. Just scroll a little more down. So I'm done with this command, and now next thing is what I will just so it's telling, verify the partition has been extended or not. So yes, it got extended now. Here you can see in this example they have both the 16 15 GB. Okay, great. Next thing is what we need to understand, one more thing here is, and what's that, get the name, size, and type of your mount point. Okay, basically this command will tell you that. Okay, df-ht. So just put that one, df-ht, and you can see that I have put this particular command. And what this command tell us me that this command tell us me that whether I'm using the XFS volume, okay, or any other one. Okay, so in our case, there are type of the file system we have. So either it could be the ext4 or XFS. Okay, it could be the ext4 XFS. So you need to understand which one you are using. So in our case, we are using the XFS. Okay, here you can see that XFS is something we are using it. Just look at 8 GB XFS. Okay, so this is the one we are using it. So depending on if you are using ext4 or XFS, again command is going to vary. Now that is just common for everywhere. Okay, whether you are using Nitro or the Zen. So further, I will go and check. So if I'm using the XFS, in that case, this is what command I have, and for ext, this is what command I have. Okay, so this is the only difference we have. So in your case, you have the XFS, right? So let me just copy this particular command and paste it here. And yes, that command is successful. And now if I go and check the df-ht, okay, you guys can see that we have successfully increased the volume. Okay, we have successfully increased the volume. Now this could looks little confusing, but let me tell you again, guys. Okay, that the confusion, you don't have to keep any confusion from the start. It's just like a hardly three commands that I have used. Okay, the very first one I use the lsblk command to just understand how much I have, how much I don't have. Okay, like here total is 16 GB, but partition is just showing the 8 GB, so we have to extend that partition. That's the one thing here you have to do. Second thing, you need to understand whether you are using this one or this one. How you can understand? By just putting the command. Okay, if it is written as xpda, so it is a Zen. If it starts with something n, okay, so you can get that one. Okay, and based on that, you'll be using that particular command. Okay, so we use that command, and then finally here again we need to understand about the type. Okay, type of your file system. So if it is XFS, in that case, this is a command you will be using. If it is ext4, okay, in that case you will be using this command. So with this 3 to 4 commands, you should be able to increase your volume, and just you can just note down these all commands, and that's how you can do it in real time scenario. So you don't have to mug up it. What here I just made you realize that you don't have to mug up it. In fact, okay, like whenever I get the activity, I have to do it very carefully. Okay, so I don't go and blindly put this all the commands. Okay, even though I know the commands. Okay, I always go check the document, and that's how I do. So it's some of the things you have to do it not knowing it. Okay, and over a period of time, let's say your activity is something you have to do it in daily. Probably you will remember these commands also, right? So that's how we have to tackle the problems in the real-time scenarios. So is this understood to you all, that how we have increased the volume? Any question, guys, you have here at this point?
Amol, one question.
Yes.
While increase this volume, will there be any effect on the applications that we have deployed in this server or ports or any services? Will there be any downtime for those
No,
things?
no. You can do it in real-time scenarios, so you can do it. Like it's a you don't require any downtime as such, so you can do it all the time.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Any other question, guys?
Aman, not regarding this class. Previous class I have one doubt. If
Yes.
we have enabled termination protection, then sometime we want to delete the mission, right? Then how should we terminate?
So you have to go and again, go and to the action, and there you have to disable that termination protection. So you have put the termination protection. You have to again, like you have enabled it, right? Because of which you are not able to delete your machine. So you have to go there and back again, like you have to disable that, and then further you can delete your machine.
Okay, Aman.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys, then yeah, if you don't have any questions, so yeah, we're good to conclude today's session. So see you there in tomorrow's session. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, Amol.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.